Netflix decided to take the Chronicles of Narnia, which is rife with Christian imagery, and hand it off to the woman who directed Little Women, Lady Bird, Barbie, and is writing the upcoming live-action Snow White. What could possibly go wrong there? I'm Troy from Marks on Movies, and today we're talking about the classic works of C.S. Lewis being entrusted to Greta Gerwig for a live-action adaptation on Netflix. Now, on with the story. The articles I'm covering can be found in the video description. Variety reports, Greta Gerwig is properly scared of directing Narnia movies after Barbie. Quote, I'm terrified. It's extraordinary. End quote.
I'm getting scaredy farts.
Although rumors had circulated online for several months, it wasn't until a recent New Yorker profile that confirmation arrived regarding Greta Gerwig tackling the Chronicles of Narnia film adaptations for Netflix. Gerwig is reportedly attached to direct 2 movies based on the famous C.S. Lewis fantasy novels. Quote, I haven't even really started wrapping my arms around it, but I'm properly scared of it, which feels like a good place to start. Gerwig told the Total Film podcast via Entertainment Weekly about entering Narnia. Quote, I think when I'm scared, it's always a good sign. Maybe when I stop being scared, it'll be like, maybe I shouldn't do that one. No, I'm terrified of it. It's extraordinary, and it's exciting. End quote. Greta, you should be scared of this. You've never done anything of this magnitude before, and all of your films have been the same. Either a female coming-of-age film, or a feminist super-political message wrapped up in neon pink and disguised as a movie about a toy. Speaking of which, given the rave reviews and huge box office projections for Barbie, it appears that Gerwig already knows how to crack the code of bringing beloved IP to the big screen. Narnia will mark her fantasy debut. 3 Narnia films were released between 2005 and 2010, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian, and The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. The first film released by Disney was a critical and box office hit with $745 million at the worldwide box office. Netflix announced in 2018 that it had nabbed the rights to Lewis's beloved series. Quote, I hope to make all different kinds of movies in the course of the time that I get to make movies, which, it's a long time, but it's also limited, Gerwig said on the podcast about trying her hand at indies and also large-scale fantasy movies. Quote, I want to do big things and small things and everywhere in between, and having another big canvas is exciting and also daunting. End quote. This is just typical Netflix for you. In fact, it's typical of all of these stupid studios nowadays. Oh, we bought up some great IP that everyone loves. Let's do something completely subversive with it. Destroy the very meaning of the IP, and then get mad when no one wants to see it. Why would someone see anything that Gerwig has made so far in her career and think, yeah, that'll translate to basically a retelling of the Gospels from the Christian Bible? By the way, the messaging isn't subtle whatsoever. I'm also not making this up in my head. Just to put a final point on the article, when asked about helming a Bond movie, Gerwig said, quote, oh my god, we're going to just stick with some lions and some dolls for the moment. You never know. I really like Bond producer Barbara Broccoli, so, end quote. Ah yes, one of the most stereotypically manly man film series in the entire history of the world. Let's put the director of Barbie in charge of it. Good lord. Do you people just want to ruin everything? You can get away with the messaging of Greta Gerwig in something like Barbie, but not in James Bond films. In the Chronicles of Narnia, the 2 most forefront main characters are the sisters, Lucy and Susan, so maybe Greta will be more into these films? Who knows? I just know that I'll watch the films, but much like the Rings of Power, I'm not paying them to see them. That's a guarantee. Just to wrap up with a little bit of insanity, let's head on over to Collider for a rather unique and insane take. Narnia and Netflix need Greta Gerwig, not the other way around. It's a shame when young talents get snapped up by the IP machine, but Gerwig's built different. First of all, you.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions. Number 1, how dare you?
But let's hear them out. On July 2nd, it was announced that Greta Gerwig, the beloved actress/director behind Lady Bird, Little Women, and the upcoming Barbie, is set to direct at least 2 Chronicles of Narnia movies for Netflix. Many were excited, or at least intrigued, by the prospect. After all, Gerwig has always been preoccupied with self-discovery and coming-of-age narratives, fantastical or otherwise, and her feminist worldview suggests that there may be justice for Susan Pevensie at last. Others, however, greeted the announcement with the abject despair of Charlton Heston falling to his knees on the beach at the end of Planet of the Apes.
You blew it up! Oh, damn you!
Ugh, I can already see where this one is going. Fans of IP bad. Must change. Change good. Political messaging good. Fans who made IP famous, very bad. Also, justice for Susan Pavensi? What justice?
I have several questions.
She was the main freaking character of the film series. Lucy was the main character, if you ask me, and the hero of the books and the films. Sure, Susan was a main character and did a lot with Lucy, but their younger brother, Edmund, was just kind of there. Sure, they had Peter on the same level as Susan, basically, and they all needed Aslan and Prince Caspian at times, but that's called needing help from stronger characters because they're normal humans in a fantasy world. Is there just not enough girl power in this series for you? C.S. Lewis literally made the sibling group the main characters and pushed one of the brothers to the back of the heap and put the oldest brother and sister on the same level. But still, yeah, let's get justice for Susan. I can only bear to read one more section here. Lady Bird and Little Women were both smash hits, bridging critical and commercial success while proving there was room for smaller-scale stories in the era of blockbuster domination. In addition, although Barbie hasn't been released yet, as of the writing of this article, various interviews, not to mention some recommendations on Margot Robbie's secret letterboxd account, whatever the hell that is, demonstrate Gerwig's typical thoughtful, cinephilic approach. Oh, and it's projected to make a ton of money as well. In a sane world, she would have a Spielberg-sized license to do whatever the hell she wanted for the next 10 years, and now she's attached to another exercise in wringing pennies out of a moth-eaten IP. For Netflix, you maniacs, you blew it up. My God, this goes on and on and on for many, many, many words. But I didn't have the strength to read it all. I skimmed it because, let's be honest here, TLDR. Also, the reason she doesn't have a Steven Spielberg-like license to do whatever the hell she wants is because all of Steven Spielberg's works were very different, and they didn't all have the same exact messaging behind them. Also, none of them were extremely political, unlike literally everything that Greta Gerwig does. It doesn't appeal to kids, teenagers, adults, and old people, all alike.
Not a great plan.
And I guarantee you, while Barbie is making a ton of money now, it's not going to be remembered fondly in 10 to 20 years like almost everything else Steven Spielberg has done. But this article is just a lot of hero worship for Greta Gerwig, talking about how she took an old feminist story and modernized it to make it still really long, still really boring, and yet still made money. She also made a coming-of-age feminist indie movie, the likes of which we've seen a million times in the past 15 plus years, but she made money. Then, she took an IP about a girl doll, made a big-budget feminist movie with one of the biggest marketing campaigns I've seen in years, and made money. So that clearly means that she can make a big-budget fantasy film series, right?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
She can adapt these wildly renowned, beloved books into films on Netflix and make money, right? That remains to be seen. Also, the pure, unadulterated contempt in this article for anyone who dares to enjoy the book series or the original films and, not want them trifled with, it's honestly pathetic. The fact that Collider printed something so tone-deaf is honestly astonishing, but yet not surprising. I made videos before about Disney losing bunches of money, but it's not just them. Hollywood, in general, no longer has an iron grip on the viewing public as they used to. Things need to change. The fact that they've taken such popular IPs as The Lord of the Rings, The Witcher, The Wheel of Time, Resident Evil, Indiana Jones, Willow, Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, basically anything under the Disney banner, completely dumped all over it, and then blame the fans for not eating it all up.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
This proves that they'll never learn.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
To close on a somewhat positive note, though, I really, really hope that I'm wrong here. I love fantasy films, novels, and games. I'm a fantasy fanatic, and I'm actually writing my own fantasy novels. I grew up loving these IPs, and it really breaks my heart every time one of these series takes a crap on me and everyone else. So I'm honestly hoping this all goes well. I'm prejudging hard, but that's because I'm using previous data to form an educated opinion. Again, let's hope I'm wrong, and Greta Gerwig will not just make money, but also make quality films for the Chronicles of Narnia, making C.S. Lewis proud. Comment with your thoughts on all of this. Do you like Greta Gerwig or not? Do you like any of her films? Are you optimistic or pessimistic about all of this news? Do you have any hope at all? Or do you just think this is going to be a steaming pile of crap? Share this video around to everyone you know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click that little bell to be notified every time we post brand new content. I've been Troy from Marks on Movies, and we'll see you next time.
You maniacs! You blew it up! Damn you! Damn you